You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, bar, arcade, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
Today on the Game Marks podcast, we play a game from one of our favorite series, Kinnikuman, Muscle Grand Prix. Will this game hold up today? Will we play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor? You're fired! All of this plus gaming news, GMP64 and Clash at the Feast. Plug in and put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now. And now, the Game Marks! Welcome to the Game Marks podcast presented by the Major Pod Network. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I am Mr. Anything is Feasible, George Feis. And today we are playing Kinnikuman, Muscle Grand Prix, the Max version.
Oh, I love that series. And as always, we love to hear from you guys. So please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe. Rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen and join the conversation on social media at GameMarksPod and on Patreon at patreon.com/GameMarksPod. Georgie boy, how you doing? You still feeling 5-star wrestling? Are you still hurting? You still feel good?
I mean, what are we talking about? Are we talking about the game as a whole? Are we talking about Clash at the Feast? Because those are two very different questions.
Either way, I feel like after we play a game, I always just think about it because we only play for such a short amount of time. Like, do we want to put more time into it? But I guess that's where the play forever, future endeavor comes in.
My problem with this series, you know, this and Regen, is that I just now want to go and play the next one. I am very excited for whatever improvements they've made graphic wise, gameplay wise. Like, I don't want to have to wait a year to play that.
Yeah, that's how we felt when we played like Legends of Wrestling, even the first Kinnikuman game, the Ultimate Muscle Galactic Wrestling. But we actually got a few notes. The developer of 5-Star Wrestling listened to our podcast and gave us some cool notes here, which you could find. We posted them on our Twitter and on our YouTube. If you go to the show on YouTube, they are in the comments section. But pretty much what we talked about, how eye pokes and crotch shots would result in a DQ. The ref would DQ if his back wasn't turned. Turns out they had to take out the physical ref for memory reasons, but you can still get DQ'd with moves like that, which I find a little odd because, I don't know, as guys like us, we didn't really know what we were doing. If you accidentally pressed the button, could result in a DQ. He also stated, this was a long paragraph, so I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to give kind of the bullet points here. We said something about moves being repeated. You're pulling the same move off repeatedly. The controls are actually on a modifier. So if you flick up on the right stick, you'll do one move, where if you hold R1 and flick up, you'll do another move. You could hold R2. You could hold R1, R2, L1, X. It's all in there. You just have to find the perfect combo for the moves you want, which we were kind of wondering, like, some of these buttons don't actually do anything or make our guy block or whatever. They're actually modifiers, so that's kind of cool.
And they kind of lead into that in the loading screen that tells you the controls. It's just not labeled correctly, I guess. Like, it says grapple and then it says modifier, but like, a modifier to what?
But here's the thing they pointed out that we didn't look for. Much like Fire Pro, when you pause the game, there's actually a move list that tells you the player's moves, which is understandable because there's only 8. They all have
Is that the first time that we've never paused?
Yeah, probably.
And all right, gotta look at the move list.
Yeah, they also stated that it took many years to make. The team was very underfunded. And back then, Unity game engine was not a thing on PS3. It was still being developed. So somehow they built the game using this engine, and it was still an experimental engine, which is crazy. And that cost them big time because there was bugs and there was all this stuff that just they weren't able to fix right away, which we mentioned on the show, how they were giving away free DLC. Anyway, if you go to our YouTube comments or on our Twitter page, we posted another video with some more info that they put out.
Now, do we have confirmation on whether or not this is Dan Hinkles?
No.
It's gotta be. If he's the developer of the game, he's there's no way that the developer of the game and the founder of 5-Star Wrestling are also, they're both Dan.
I don't know. Well, I did respond saying, "Were you a developer?" And he said, "Yes, indeed." So,
Huh.
I don't know. But there was also a third one planned. We saw some screenshots. It had Rey Mysterio on it, so I guess maybe they were going for some licensing here. I also found a pretty cool article that back then 5-Star Wrestling was offering CM Punk $1 million to just make his first wrestling appearance back for their company, and obviously
That's
that didn't
wild.
happen. But yeah, that's crazy. You think that was all the profits from 5-Star Wrestling, the game?
Sure.
Me neither.
Sure.
All right, back on track. What's new on Patreon? Today you get the show ad-free. Tomorrow you get the show notes. What?
I'm already dreading my Wednesday.
You got show notes and GMP Game Over on Tuesday. Wednesday, Future Endeavored. You are playing Micro League Wrestling, which I played last week. I got some pointers for you to make it work. Next week, I will be playing WWF WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge, which I am looking forward to revisiting that game as well. Thursday, last week I started playing Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle for the Game Boy as our bonus, and I'm going to continue. There's 80 stages in that game. I only made it to 10. I'm going to continue. I'm going to finish this game. And Friday, of course, Clash and Burn. I'm working on a guess. I'm not going to give it away yet.
Is it me yet?
No. It's never going to be you.
What?
We do this. No. We already do this.
Wow. All right.
Take us to the streamer spotlight.
I'm hurt. All right. Well, the streamer spotlight for the month of September is twitch.tv/marauding night. MARAUDINGNIGHT. And she is just a peach. She is just one of the best content creators. She plays everything. Don't laugh. Don't make a face. She is. If you've taken our advice and have hopped into a stream with Dom Odinson or Micropony, you will be very familiar with Marauding Knight. She plays a lot of the games with them. She's part of the Bush Bros crew, and she ventures off a little bit. She plays the horror series games, like Phasmophobia and stuff like that, but also joins us
to get into those.
Oh, that is just a big no from me. No horror games on this channel for me.
I would love it. I think I'm gonna dabble.
Yeah, no, that can be your October bonus content.
Okay.
You could just play all of the scary ass games,
like Mickey's Mousecapades.
Scary for different reasons. But yeah, make sure to go and follow twitch.tv/marauding night, and make sure that you tell her that Johnny and George from the Game Marks podcast sent you.
All right, now let's head on over to YouTube, where once we hit 400 subs, we're going to release the history, the video game glory of the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal. We have made it up to 350. That means 60 of you have subscribed since we started this, which is amazing. We just need 50 more. And speaking of YouTube, GMP64 episode 31 is out now. We are on the road to WrestleMania October 3rd. It is going to be a big event. We have guests, we have everything planned out. It's going to be awesome, and you have to be there.
When you say 31, that's 31 weeks plus a pay-per-view a month plus GMP Game Over. I think this is the biggest thing that we do besides the actual podcast.
I actually think the biggest thing we're going to do is October 4th is we're just going to sit back, breathe, and have a big drink.
Yes. Now, okay.
Yeah, I think I know what you're going to say. I'm going to spring a
question on John the other day we were recording. So I'm gonna ask the public, if you're hearing this and you watch GMP64, if you're a Patreon subscriber and you watch GMP Game Over, I had this crazy idea of maybe releasing season 1 as a DVD with maybe some like bonus commentary, and like maybe we can get some interviews with like people that we made, and if they, like, I would love, because I know that they don't watch, to see what Matt and Brian think and Mark think of their GMP64 counterparts, and like, hey, we made you in this game. What do you think? How did we do?
I'm not opposed to that. I think it would definitely have to be like a pre-order thing that we would have to do see who would actually
thing,
want
or maybe
it.
it's like a Patreon exclusive thing. I don't know. Just
I think it would be
let
pretty
us
cool.
know on social media if that is something that you guys would be interested in. John and I obviously have no problem putting in the work to get something like that put together, but we want to make sure that it's something that you guys want as well. So yeah, at GameMarksPod on social media, let us know what you think.
Yeah, but also I was going to say that week that we finish, I think we could breathe a little bit, but then we're going to put out a full retrospect bonus episode on just what it took to make this show. Maybe we'll do some awards for season 1, best comeback, best title run, all that fun stuff, and you guys can vote on it and we'll discuss it.
And then obviously after that, there'll be the Patreon exclusive Q&A about season 1 of GMP64.
All right, but also on our website right now, GameMarksPod.com, we have grips, we have guitar picks, we have prints with season 1 and season 1. Listen to me. I guess we could go season 1 and season 2 of the Game Marks podcast with the Future Endeavor Play It Forever. We have t-shirts. We actually just moved everything over to GameMarksPodcast.BigCartel.com. If you want an easier link to get to all of our stuff, it's all right there. It's all really awesome. We have 4 colors of grips, guitar picks. You name it, we got it.
Oh man, I had to tell you, we really stepped up our merch game this year.
We did. Big Cartel was a big help. Also,
came out swinging in the first 2 months of year 3.
Yeah, and people are getting their grips, they're getting their stickers, their guitar picks, and they're loving them. So I use the grips every day.
Oh yeah, me too. Every time we play a game and I need a PlayStation controller, whether it's for the podcast or I'm just playing myself, I have my GMP grips, and then I also have my VGF Gamer grips.
Yeah, baby. But all right, speaking of VGF
the whole
gamers,
controller.
Speaking of VGF gamers, are you ready to head on over to some gaming news?
Oh, I'm so ready. Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at VGFgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
During last week's PlayStation Showcase, Insomniac Games revealed Marvel's Wolverine, a new PS5 game. The teaser was brief, showcasing a decimated bar with a number of patrons covering the floor as a new opponent tries to sneak up on Logan. Claws are unsheathed. The tease did not include any gameplay footage, and there's possible reason for that. The game is still very early in development. In a new post on the PS blog, Insomniac Games' Ryan Schneider stated so, while also revealing that the game is off to a good start. Xbox has revealed that the next Halo Infinite multiplayer preview is set to take place on September 24th. Those interested in participating in the preview can become eligible by registering for a Halo Insider profile by September 13th. That's today. These multiplayer previews are a great opportunity for Halo fans to see what the game has to offer, and it will also help 343 Industries make Halo Infinite a stronger multiplayer experience when it releases later this year. Now, while we're talking about Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse capades, Funko Game has announced 3 new holiday-themed card games featuring classic Disney characters. The 3 games are the Disney Chippendale Christmas Treasures card game, Disney Cookie Swap, and Disney Princess Present Party. These will all be released later this year in time for a holiday season with retail prices at $6.99. All 3 games are made with kids in mind and are perfect for holiday get-togethers. That's all the gaming news we have this week. Check back next week. George, you have a set of Chippendales cards, right?
I'm not sure what you're implying here, John.
Just asking.
Not sure what you're implying. But hey, listen, in addition to the Wolverine game, did you see the other big reveal from Insomniac?
Spider-Man 2?
Oh.
With Venom?
My God.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You still have to beat Miles Morales.
Yeah, I tried on stream, but I was using PS Remote Play to my PC, and it just wasn't connecting well. So I'm going to have to go in.
A capture card.
Yeah, I also got rid of my PlayStation camera, so if I stream it, it's just going to be really bare bones, but that's fine. I think I'll
if
continue
we get you a capture card, you can hook your PlayStation up to your computer and use the camera that I'm looking at you.
I'm aware. I know how that works. Yeah. I just don't have that. So
we'll work on it.
I'm not an X-Men guy at all. I know nothing about it. I know Wolverine's cool. If Insomniac Games is making another Marvel game, I think I'm in no matter what.
Oh, see, that's the thing. I am an X-Men guy. I am a Wolverine guy. I am unbelievably hyped for this. And then you also tell me that it's another Insomniac game?
But there's a big but here. We're PC guys now. There's a big chance that we don't ever play these games.
Speak for yourself. You
plan on getting a PS5?
Well, yeah, when it's not $500. Right.
I didn't think you would. I don't know. Sorry.
No. I absolutely will. Just not when the system itself is a little bit more available.
I'll have FOMO once these games come out. Once Spider-Man 2 at least.
It's one of those things where like I know that it's still a hard system to get, but eventually, much like every other PlayStation, they're going to stop making the games for the previous system, or there'll be major differences between the two versions and you'll miss out on content. So as the PlayStation 5 becomes a little bit more available, as maybe the price is a little bit more reasonable, we'll say, I eventually will pick it up.
Yeah, okay. I really have no desire, but I know once like Spider-Man 2 comes out, maybe another Last of Us, I'm going to be like,
Yeah, exactly. That's where I am. I would rather get on the boat early.
Okay, here's the thing about Halo giving a little multiplayer preview. You could sign up. Why don't more games do this? I get it. There's like a beta release and you could report the bugs and all that, but this is like a cool event that 343 has done in the past, and I think more games should be more receptive to this than just kind of like your beta preview.
I mean, Diablo did it. Diablo 2 Resurrected had an open beta. All you had to do was watch a streamer for a certain period of time, and you got access to the beta code as long as your Blizzard account was linked to your Twitch account. So I got to play the early access of Diablo 2 Resurrected, which was a ton of fun. I feel like it's something that a lot of people did, and then they stopped doing it, and now it's starting to like come back. Like this is almost like the newer version of those demo discs that you used to get from like the like Nintendo Power, and
I feel like this is also 343's way of just kind of saying, sorry, we took so long with this game. Here's something to show you that it's almost here.
That's also possible.
Which is all you really want in a company. I think even though there's been some snags, I think they're doing a great job with it.
Listen,
kind of putting people at ease.
It's one of those things where I'm trying to think, like, what's the right word to like, Halo is a juggernaut of a franchise. Like, it can
enemy juggernaut.
It's one of those things where you have to treat it the right way, because there's so many people that are invested in this franchise for so long. Like, you have to handle the whole thing right.
It's about up there with like Mario now. I'm sorry, Mario, for our Discord people who hate the way I say Mario. It's up there
100%.
now. Yeah, recognizable. It's one of the top classic characters. But okay, enough about that. I don't want another 1-star rating. What do you say we head on over to the question of the week? What's up, Game Marks? Are you trying to look your best while repping your favorite video game podcast duo? We know just the place. Head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod to pick up your favorite GMP designs, including our various logo tees, Future Endeavor, the classic NES Pro Wrestling style tee, and of course, Mark the F out. Order today and receive a phone call from us. You never know who will pop in. That's ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. Play it forever.
John, did we have enough filler this week?
I think we had a little bit of we had filler. Whatever.
All right. Well, the question of the week is a weekly segment where you ask us a question, and if we pick your question, you get a Game Marks Podcast prize pack. And last week's question was, what special match type would you like to see in the next generation of wrestling games? Obvious answer. We said we would like a death match. You said war games. We brought up the triple cage from Ready to Rumble. But we got some answers on social media. You want to go one for one here, John, with these?
Sure.
All right, so our good buddy Gakdaw, creator of the Ultra-Violence video game, says anything with fire and explosions, and yeah, I'm in.
Yep. Lucky13 Collects also says deathmatch with a little skull.
Oh, and our friends at Virtual Suplex say war games for sure, agreeing with John, but also the Turnbuckle says war games, but WCW rules. No teams in cages waiting outside. I like this.
Yeah, I like it too. But this week's question of the week comes from Wrestling Figure Database. Says, what was your favorite action to do in some of the wrestling video games? Mine was send someone over or through the cell, also put someone through a table, but some of the early games it was hard or awkward to do. Half the time it took forever to work, or it didn't go that good. But then when it did work well, it was great. Now, I always, once WWE games started... Once they started implementing like the carry system and like you couldn't just roll the guy onto the table, it was kind of But then you look at like WrestleMania 18 and 19 where the guy could be laying on the table, you could do like a little knee drop through it, it breaks like and then the game's over. So I don't know, I feel like they hit the nail on the head with like the oh my god moments, except they're just annoying to do and they waste a finisher and make the match that much longer. But overall, I enjoyed the oh my god moment. I can't remember which WWE game it was, but it was where you finally had the crowd and you could fight in that little area in the crowd and you could set up an oh my god moment and jump off the scaffold.
Oh, yes. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, I believe, and it was in a few games beyond that as well.
All right, so my answer is a little more simple, I guess. In the SmackDown vs. Raw series, when they implemented I guess it was the carry system where like you could pick someone up in the powerbomb position and then just like walk around.
I hated that so much, yeah.
Oh, no. I loved it because it let you do any of those carry moves off the top of the cage.
Yeah.
And you got the full animation, everything. Like, it wasn't intentionally done. It was more like we didn't think that people were going to do this. But when I remember the day I found the video online of someone being like, did you know that if you do the carry mechanic and you go to throw someone off the top of the cage that like it does the full animation? So like you would hit a choke slam and you would just be carrying someone up in a choke slam on the top of the cage and you could walk from one corner to the other and just hurl them off the top in a choke slam. And that for me was always, it like predates the OMG because I in the early SmackDown vs. Raw games, that wasn't a thing yet, or they weren't as flushed out as they are now. But yeah, that's number one for me. That carry mechanic, Hell in a Cell.
That was so annoying online, though. Everyone just overdid it so much, and like it was just so overpowered.
Yeah, absolutely.
But all right, we now turn to you guys, the listeners. What is your favorite action in a wrestling video game? All right, but you tiptoeing.
Does that mean it's time?
Are you getting ready? Are you spinning like sunshine? Are you ready to take the deep dive, take the plunge into Kinnikuman once again?
You need to calm down. You're spinning like sunshine over there. Pump the brakes there, bud. But yeah, let's go. It's time for the deep dive. All right, John, here we go. Kinnikuman Muscle Grand Prix released July 27th, 2006 for the PlayStation 2.
My dad's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, John Caruso dad.
Whoa, kayfabe.
Released July 27th, 2006 for the PS2, developed by AKI Corp, published by Namco Bandai. And this, I mean, I don't know if we touched on this enough in the Clash of the Feast video. Do you think we mentioned it like once or twice or, maybe like 100 times that this is a port of an arcade game? So if you're looking to emulate or play this, you have two methods of doing it. You can emulate an arcade, you could buy the arcade, or you can get the Japanese disc of the arcade port. Now there are two versions of this game. There is Muscle Grand Prix, which has 16 wrestlers and 11 stages. Then there is Muscle Grand Prix Max, which is the version that John and I played, which has an additional 17 characters. So now the roster has 33 people. There's an additional 4 stages, bringing that count up to 15. And I mean, this is really the bread and butter here, because it adds a story mode that is actually based on actual Kinnikuman story arcs.
Yeah, and it's pretty awesome. We played through it. There's actually 2 of them. Once you beat one, you get another one, and you unlock characters along the way. But let's throw it back a little. While we're talking about old WWE games, so SmackDown vs. Raw, this comes out in 2006, also out this year. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, which was the first game to come out after SmackDown vs. Raw. So this is the first yearly SmackDown vs. Raw game, I guess we could say. And also Wrestle Kingdom came out this year, which we still have not played, and we will in the very near future.
The Wrestle Kingdom game.
If it's anything like All-Star Pro Wrestling 2, I'm all about it.
See, that's the thing.
It's probably not.
Everything I've heard is that it's so similar to King of Colosseum, but it's either going to be that you love it or you hate it. And I feel like in the past, when someone says it's a game, it's one of those games that you're either going to love or you hate. It's always one of those ones where you're like, oh no, why?
It's usually more of the hate.
Yeah, so I'm excited. That's definitely coming up soon. But let's talk about this actual game and what your match types are and stuff like that. So your game modes. You start off with the regular arcade mode, where you pick your character and you fight through 7 stages, and you must defeat one of 3 bosses. You can either have a boss battle against Akuma Shogun, Goldman, or Benki Man. Benki Man. Now, there's also the versus or head-to-head mode, where it's 2 players, and yeah, that's really that. There's not a whole lot of bells and whistles to it.
Yeah, and it's very similar to arcade mode, because, say, when we played, if you lost, you would pick the new character. I would continue as the main character. It's kind of like one of those press starts rather than insert coin, obviously.
A new challenger approaches.
Yeah, so you keep continuing with whoever loses picks the new character, and also the player 2 or the losing character also picks the stage that you play at, which stages here we're going to get to in a bit. They were all really cool.
Good Lord, they are something else. This is next level stage design here. You also have your tournament mode, which is a challenge tournament that is unique to the console port. 4 fighter series, an 8 fighter series, and a 16 fighter series. You also have team battle, which is another mainstay of most fighting arcade styles, which you have a versus, 1 player versus a CPU, 2 player versus CPU, or John's favorite mode in almost every game that we ever play that has this, the watch battle mode.
Hey, I'm not going to lie, because we kind of left it on in the background while we were playing, and the 2 computers started going at it. And it wasn't like dumb AI like every other game we play, where they're just kind of standing there taunting. They do one move. These guys were going at it.
This is a different watch battle mode than, I'll say, like a game
Cutie
like
Suzuki?
Rumble Roses.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, most arcade games have this as well. Survival mode. An endurance mode where the player selects your character. An endurance mode where you select your character and you have to win as many matches as you can in a 1-minute match.
That's hard to do. Some of them do last longer than a minute if they're like really competitive. But
yeah, that's
typical
a challenge.
Typical to not only an arcade game, but also most wrestling games now, with a little gauntlet or slobber knocker. Something I like to see. Something that usually unlocks characters in, say, like a WWE game that you could run through and you could unlock a bunch of stuff.
I feel like I'm trying to think of the last wrestling game that did that.
Well, you had the Undertaker gauntlet in one of the 2Ks.
Was it a gauntlet, or was it just like do you count
it was
showcase
a gauntlet.
modes as gauntlets?
No. It was you had to be the Undertaker. It was like defeat the streak or something. Yeah, 2K14. It was the defeat the streak challenge.
Oh.
There was a bunch of Undertaker modes. There was streak mode where you're the Undertaker and you pretty much face off against everyone.
Yeah, I do remember this.
Yeah, it was a modern day slobber knocker just with all of the Undertaker.
I definitely do remember this. Yeah. Okay. I forgot about this because obviously the first one thing that I thought of was survival mode in No Mercy.
Oh, yeah, but even after that, SmackDown games had Slobber Knocker mode.
Yeah. They rebranded it.
All right, but let's go over the story of this game because you get 2 chapters. You get the Seven Devil Shojin chapter, which is a to be continued. Now, it's only to be continued because once you defeat this one, like George said, there's a lot of similarities between the Kinnikuman actual television show and the game. You kind of run through the same storylines. But now you unlock the Gold Mask chapter, which is titled The End. And in the first chapter, Kinnikuman must defeat the 6 Devil Chojin led by Buffalo Man in order to save Meat. Now, no, not like a little stack of meat. Meat is actually his little buddy who looks kind of like him. It's one of the other characters.
We mention this every single time we play this because you say Meat to a wrestling fan and everyone's like, Sean Stasiak?
Yeah. Where's Terry?
I didn't know that he was in Kinnikuman.
Right. And in the second chapter, Suguru and his fellowship fight the Devil Knights to get back the stolen Golden Mask, and depending on the player's choice and his ability to follow the original manga's storyline, he will be able to truly complete the mode and to watch the end credits. Now, I always thought that was kind of lame. You win the game, it's like, you unlocked the end credits. But at least in this one, along the way, you do unlock some characters and some stages as well. So that's always fun.
Yeah. Well, that's usually the main purpose of a story mode, is just to be like, hey, guess what? Here's some... Did you really like where you had that final boss battle? You thought that stage was awesome? Cool. Beat the story mode and you got it.
Yeah.
Want to play as the boss? Cool. You got it.
But now we mentioned some characters, we mentioned some bosses, but what do you say we head into this roster and give it a little read?
This is a hefty roster here.
Well, we'll go category by category. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsors. All right, Georgie, you want me to start it off here?
Yeah, sure.
All right, your legends: Kinnikuman, Terryman, who also known as Kinnikuman Great, Robin Mask, Warsman, Ramen Man, also known as Messiah, Brocken Jr., Wolfman, Pentagon, not the AEW Tag Team Champion, Benki Man, Geronimo, and Kinnikuman Soldier.
Now, your new generation roster consists of Kinnikuman Taro, Kevin Mask, Terry the Kid, Jade, Scarface, Checkmate. Oh boy.
Ilokine?
Yokine?
Sure.
And Barrier Free Man.
You think Jade comes with a Smart Mark Sterling Kinnikuman character?
Yes.
Your Devil Shojins.
That's actually me.
Your Devil
Smart Meat
Shojins. Buffalo Man, Spring Man, Stakasi King, Black Hole, The Mountain, Mr. Common, and Atlantis.
And your Golden Mask arc story unlock characters are Akuma Shogun, Ashura Man, Sunshine, also New Sunshine, The Ninja, Junkman, Planet Man, and Snegator.
I think that's who I was mostly when we played. Yeah, that was a good character. So if you get the new generation Mattel ring, if you back the ring, are you going to put your Kinnikuman figures in there?
I'm going to put my Jade and Smart Meat Sterling in the ring.
Let's not ever call them that ever again. Oh my god. Okay. So your arenas, you have Beverly Park, 5-story ring, Tokyo Tower, Shinobazu Pond, Yono Park, Demon Womb, Amusement Park, Denin Coliseum, Chichibu Mountain Range, Nippon Budokan, Japanese Alps, and your Tournament Mountain. Now your max stages, these are only included in the max version of the game, not the arcade. Totori Sand Dunes, Hokkaido UFO Landing Zone, that one was cool, we played at that one. Karakuin Stadium, and Spirit World Pocket.
I could tell you right now, least favorite stage name? Demon Womb.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't like it when we were picking it, and I didn't like it when you just read it again.
Well, now that I'm scrolling down here and I'm looking at the artwork, the little logo for this game kind of looks like that.
Oh, you just pump the brakes there, bud.
Also, all right, let's go through the artwork now, because it is a plethora. It is a jumble. Every single Kinnikuman character that you know is on this cover, shoved into like a Fire Pro-esque, fiery, flamey, lightning bolt background with a big Kinnikuman logo with Demon Womb sitting on top of it. Kind of looks like a Stranger Things character. Also, Nagini, the snake from Harry Potter, is in there with Ramen Man and everyone else.
It's Steel, Nagini. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's okay. It's a little too much for me, but yeah.
It looks like a manga cover.
Exactly. Yeah, they just put a PlayStation logo on it, which it could
is
be.
What it's supposed to be. So, you got a little bit of everything here. So it shows you Kinnikuman large front and center. Obviously, it's got the familiar Kinnikuman logo on the front, like John mentioned. But like I said, it's a manga cover. That's all it is.
Is Kinnikuman the only representation of anything wrestling on this front cover?
Well, no, because there's also Terry Man.
But they're small. I don't know. I like a cover that knows that it's wrestling. I get it. This is a wrestling kind of adjacent game. However, being developed by AKI, it does have some of the moves we know and love from all of the other past games. I think this one honestly has more wrestling moves, not just button mash karate moves, than any other Kinnikuman game we've played so far.
Pretty sure the first match that we did when we were loading up to do Clash at the Feast was a Northern Light suplex.
Yeah, Northern Lights, Ranas, DVDs, everything's in here.
Yeah, John loved that DVD.
Oh, I hated it. They take up so much health, and it's an arcade game, so these matches go really quick.
Yeah, it's definitely a different treatment to a wrestling game than we've seen in the past. Do we want to do a little Google Translate on this back cover?
If you want, you could do it. I'll explain it while you do it. You have Kinnikuman big, of course. You have the screenshots going diagonal that would show the game screenshots, which actually, the graphic style of this game we're going to get to next is really good and really cool and very, I don't know how to say it. It's wrestling-esque, but it also gives me hints of like the first two Def Jam games. And
yes.
It is an AKI game. That makes sense. Bandai Namco, you see the logo for that and the logo for AKI in the back, which is kind of a strong selling point usually for a wrestling game. What you got?
So that top text on the back cover just says the popular arcade game now comes to PlayStation 2.
Oh, beautiful. I'm assuming the bottom where it says a big 33 is 33 characters.
So that text just below or just above the screenshot says, experience the superhuman martial arts of, and then I'm assuming the text, the big text says Kinnikuman.
Or yeah, Ultimate Muscle or something. Do you think this website on the back still works?
Check it out.
It is BNGI.
Oh, this says
Channel.
R Gold Mask Edition and
/channel.jpg.
Story mode.
Nope. Site cannot be reached. That's sad.
33 overwhelming support, John.
Okay, yes, 33 characters, pretty much. Exactly what we thought, but let's get into this art style now. PlayStation discs. How far they've come. Because
how come this looks like the Batman Arkham
It does, right?
disc?
I just took a double take at it because it does have a Batman type logo on the chest, but the Muscle Grand Prix Max logo, PlayStation 2, very, very duotoned like most old PlayStation 1 and 2 games, but I feel like it's a PlayStation 3 that kind of revved it up. You finally got your full color discs and all that.
Like this like is very reminiscent of the Arkham City disc.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's weird. This came out before that though, I think, right?
Oh yeah, years before.
All right, so your art style here, it looks like a wrestling game. It looks like the manga. You have an arcade style roster select screen where everyone's in a square. I always find this so much easier to navigate than say like now where it's alphabetical or by division. It's
man.
The UFC games are so hard to navigate because you can go by you can go by weight class, you can go by champion.
It's too much.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Just give us this. Just select the guy by face and it'll tell you who they are. Like old
I
Nitro
miss the days
Thunder.
of the icon select screen. I miss those days.
But speaking of Nitro and Thunder, I feel like the game interface resembles it very much because you have the championship belt in the middle of the top screen, which shows the timer. And then you have the health bars on the left and the right. And within those is your special abilities where it's like I played as one guy who shot ice. or fire. And once your ability shows up, you're able to use it. I believe it was a double tap and circle or something like that. And then you have your special bar as well.
And controls for this game are very, like, if you've played any arcade fighter, you know the basic commands, like down, forward, punch, down, back, punch, except now you're also doing it with like forward, grapple, or things like that. You know, it's all those arcade style moves that you learn from like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. Like just use the button combinations that you're most familiar with, that you remember, that are like ingrained into your muscle memory. Then you'll be fine.
And now the arenas in the background, I appreciate that there's actual like wrestling arenas in some of these. You know what's weird? The one big wrestling arena, I think it was Karakoan, I can never say that word, stadium, not hall.
Yeah.
You have fans up in the rafters, but the entire floor section is empty. I noticed that while we were playing. Whereas you have like other arenas where it's like a garden and the crowd is free.
Yeah, I never realized that.
Yeah, I saw that while we were playing. I was like, oh, that's a little odd. There's no crowd. And then I looked up and the crowd was like in the rafters, like in the 200 section.
That's the media section.
Yeah, kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
It was the Thunderdome.
The arenas have almost like a weird, I don't know what the word is. Like the perspective for some of these things are weird. So like you'll get these great like 3D renders of the environments and like the world themselves, but then you get like the flat PNG paper people.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. So like some of the models for like a lamppost or a chair are like flushed out like 3D renders, but then it's just like a person standing in the background. It's like a flat N64 No Mercy paper crowd person. And it's just like,
I don't know.
All right, that's kind of weird.
Right?
But
I would like to see this on an actual arcade. I couldn't find much, honestly, when looking for it. Because some arcades, the screen was, vertical, not horizontal. Is that changed in this game, or do we have the horizontal screen? I don't know. Just would like to see it. If anyone could find that, I would post it. So
yeah, the only thing I tried to find it too, because I wanted to see, because every time we talk about an arcade game, I love to look at the actual cabinet.
Yes, that
but
too.
The only thing I've seen was the actual cartridge for the cabinet itself, and like a really zoomed in picture of the screen of the cabinet, but like I haven't found a picture of like a side panel or anything like that, because that's always where like the fun, like ridiculous artwork is. Like, we've talked about like the WrestleFest arcade cabinet and Matt Mania arcade cabinet, and obviously the insanely cool design of the Retromania arcade cabinet.
Yeah, the one we're looking at also is, I think, the second game. It's Max 2, not Max 1. So, but anyway, something else I wanted to share was: did you know? Did you know early orders of Muscle Grand Prix Max included a full-color plastic meat money box?
I don't like anything about that sentence. Did you know Kinnikuman Muscle Grand Prix Max 2 was released June 21st, 2007 with 6 additional characters?
Did you know Kinnikuman Muscle Grand Prix Max is available on eBay for around $40 used and goes up to around $200 sealed? So, George, you're not in the market for a meat money box? It's full color.
I'm genuinely afraid to Google that.
I did. I couldn't find anything. I put Kinnikuman in front of it. Don't worry. But
like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm assuming it's like a little lunchbox type aluminum box with a handle.
No, it's a money. It's like a money box. Makes me think that it's like a piggy bank.
Huh.
Like, I think it probably looks something like this. For those of you that see the show notes, you'll be able to see it. But also, maybe John will post this picture on the internet.
Hey, you know the passwords.
I know, but it's not the actual thing. But I'm imagining it looks something like that, where it's just like a figure of meat, but they made it into...
Maybe it's like just his head.
Yeah, or maybe it's like, when they do like those bust statues where it's like the person from like the waist up. It's probably that with like a little coin slot on its forehead or something. Like that's
regardless, it's probably really creepy.
Oh yeah, I mean it's half of a person.
Yeah,
and with giant eyes. So.
But all right, I'm not going to cut to ratings and reviews this week because I could only find one because it is a Japanese game. They're very hard to come by. And I got Weekly Famitsu gives it a 32 out of 40, which was actually a pretty good rating.
Oh, wow.
But there's
a short list of ratings there.
Short list, an overall decent list, but it's time for the most important rating of them all, which is ours. Because right now, George...
Smart meets Sterling's?
It's time to rate the games.
The game!
All right, George Feis, Kinnikuman Muscle Grand Prix, Max. Will you play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
Do I want to go long-winded here or no?
Give me what you got. It's okay.
All right. So there's like a small part of me when we started to play it together that I got something that I didn't experience when I played through the story mode myself. And that is you don't realize. I'm trying to think of like the right wording. It feels more arcadey when you're playing against someone because you're expecting it to be more wrestling based. When you're playing through the story mode, there's so many things happening, and like, you know, there's like multiple things to follow, and there's the story arc, and you're trying to, you know, it's not a translated version, so you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. But like, when I played it when we were doing our tournament, I was like, oh, this feels significantly more arcadey here than it did when I played it by myself. And I didn't hate it as much as I thought that I was gonna. So I think I'm playing it forever. It's a different spin on a Kinnikuman game, and I think it was successful, and I liked it.
Woo! Okay. I didn't know where you were going with that.
I honestly, that was a game time decision.
Okay.
But Johnny Clash, hopefully you were a little quicker than I was.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought the controls were super easy. They're quick games, they're quick matches, but they're also fun. They're not frustrating. Play forever. Woo! I think so far we've just really enjoyed the Ultimate Muscle series. We have played it forever on Ultimate Muscle Legends vs. New Generation.
I think there's only one that we didn't. I think the tag team muscle.
Galactic Wrestling, we both played it forever. Tag Team Match Muscle, no, we both played it forever. I remember that one with the little orbs. Yeah, we like that one. I think every Kinnikuman game so far, Ultimate Muscle, we have played it forever, and that's pretty damn accomplishing, if you ask me, because we're pretty harsh sometimes.
Yeah, there's just something about these games that are just fun. It's not even the fact that they're made by AKI, because there's been plenty of other games that we've played that we like that had nothing to do with them. There's just a certain level of like polish to these games, even going back to, you know, the NES. Like there's just, I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it. There's just something that like sucks you in.
Yeah, they get it. They know what a game should be, and they keep coming, keep putting them out.
Yeah. I'm ready. We're going to play the second one next year, so 6 more characters.
But all right. What do you say we talk about our tournament? Clash at the Feet.
No, I don't want to.
All right, for this week's game, head on over to youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast, and you will see us play Kinnikuman Muscle Grand Prix. Last week we played 5-star wrestling. Let out that sigh, George. Game number 1, I chose Andy Organ. George chose Harvey D.
Best, I can't even. I'm trying to be mad, but you can't with these names. I love
Andy Organ took the win. Second game, Johnny Maivia, the bull, took on Uncle Curtis Angel. It was a little bit more competitive, a little more back and forth. I highly suggest watching it if you want to hear the theme songs and see the gameplay of 5-star wrestling. But Johnny the Bull took it, and Johnny Clash took the win for your winner.
America.
Play my music, not his singing.
Aww.
of the Clash. Not everything's made to last. This is my life. This is my life.
All right, so September, it's currently 1-0 Johnny Clash. I have to crawl out of this 3-0 hole.
I've heard this song and dance before.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what my next belt looks like.
Okay. Maybe I don't have to be nice and make one. It was never part of the rules.
I know. I just listen. If I light a fire under your ass, maybe you'll keep this winning streak going.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, so far you've only beaten me in 3 or 4 more games than I have. It's been pretty good so far.
It has.
It's coming down to the wire, which is why I have a way to kind of rework it for next season to make it a little more interesting, a little more fun, not so repetitive,
a little more Johnny Clash sided.
No. a little more interactive, I guess, too, with our listeners. All right, George, but before I ask you what we're playing next week, we actually already know, and I want to go ahead and give up the next 3 weeks of episodes because we do this thing on our Patreon where if you're a Megamark, you get to pick the game. We now have 3 Megamarks. They each get to pick a game every month. It just so happens that all 3 of them, that's Tecker, that's Jamie Patterson, that's Brett Van, they all picked a game that closes out a series. All WWF, WWE games. So next week, Tecker chose European Rampage Tour, which closes out that series of games. We've played them all. That's it. That was the last one. September 27th, Jamie Patterson chooses WrestleMania 21, which closes out the Xbox series, Raw 2, and WrestleMania 21. And now Brett Van on October 4th chooses WWF Attitude, which closes out Warzone, which closes out the ECW games. We are closing doors here, and we thank our Megamarks for contributing to that.
It's 3 years, man. We're already starting to close doors.
But that just leads to full-on like retrospect episodes, revisits. I love doing them, bringing in guests, talking about them. We could bring in Danny Doring back to talk about the ECW series. We could do whatever we want now. One door closes, another opens, right?
We still got to do that whiskey episode with Doring.
That would be great. Maybe that could be the ECW retrospect episode. We can get some others involved.
I like that. Give me CPA.
Give me CPA. So next week we are playing WWF European Rampage Tour, and I can't wait. I've never played that one.
I'm excited. It's a little different from that series. It's yeah. You'll see.
Is that it?
But all right. I think we're good. I'm gonna go pick up this controller and go back to playing also Grand Prix because I'm having a lot of fun with it still.
Ooh. Let's get joystick controllers and play it.
Oh. No, because if we get them, then we're going to have to make like custom branded ones, and that's...
Maybe
you got expensive hobbies, John.
I'm going to get a USB one when my new office is done. How about that?
Oh, okay. All right,
take us home.
All right, that's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out all of our merchandise at GameMarksPod.com/shop and join us on Patreon, patreon.com/GameMarksPod. It's the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to wherever great podcasts can be found. Thank you very much for hanging out with us this week. John, I love this game. I'm glad that you love this game as well. And I think you can go ahead and do that thing that you do.
Game over. Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future Endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.